Hey everyone, for anyone that is about to listen to this, well, the sound is kind of bad for this podcast, and I did not notice it until I actually edited the podcast. So I do apologize for that. Hope you guys stayed and listened. Thank you so much for tuning in, though. Hope you enjoy the podcast. What is going on, you guys? Welcome to the Ready to See podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to another episode. So, let's just start with The Last of Us. I have been semi-reviewing almost every single episode of The Last of Us TV show that has come out every single Sunday. But actually, we're going to review two of them this time, because we actually got the one that came out on Friday earlier. Yeah, we actually got episode 5 very early because of the Super Bowl. That is the main reason why we actually got episode 5. And I'm glad, man. I'm actually glad that they actually did that. They didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl. And I get it, man. The Super Bowl is one of the biggest events probably here in the US, or maybe in the world as well, but mostly here in America. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't really watch much football, but I just only know the quarterback, his name is Mahomes, and they're saying that he's like the next Tom Brady, or I don't know. He's a really good quarterback, but I'm guessing his team probably might win. I don't know, that's just my guess. But I'm going with the Kansas City. By the time you watch or hear this podcast, you already know who already won. But the main reason why I watched that is just to watch the trailers that come out and also the commercials. Yeah, but now let's go with The Last of Us. Let's start with episode 4. Now in this episode, Ellie and Joel were headed to... Well, actually, they were heading to another place, and they just stumbled upon this place that they did not know about. And this place is not even controlled by the Federal. It's just controlled by a few survivors. And what I like about this episode is that they added more context to it, more than the game itself. In the video game, when they head to that direction, once they headed to this place, we didn't know much, and we got to actually meet Henry and Sam just like that. We didn't really know much about them, except only that they were cannibals, and that was about it. But in the TV show, we actually got to know a little bit more about the survivors and what they do. So we just know that the leader, which is the female leader, she actually had a brother who was the leader before her, and he actually got killed by Henry, and they're actually hunting down Henry. And so on this episode, on episode 4, we're wondering who this guy is and why he did this. But we actually did get the reason why they actually were chasing him around town on episode 5, because Henry revealed it to Joel. But let's not get any further with episode 5 yet. Let's just talk about a little bit about episode 4. So I like that they actually created almost the same scenes like how they did in the video game, like at the part where Ellie and Joel, well, mostly Ellie, she found the magazine cover with, in the magazine, and Joel told her to put it away. And then she made the joke, why are the papers so sticky? And then Joe said, and then she just said, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, that was a hilarious part, and I'm glad they put it on the TV show. Also crashed on a building, and they kept it the same thing as well in the video game. But for that part, I feel like they kind of made the action a little less. I got it. So the right word is tame. That's what I believe that they were doing for this episode. They were taming the action, and I'm guessing they're just mostly focusing on character development and storyline. They weren't really focusing on the action, not as much as episode 5, but we'll get there soon. So now on episode 4, Joe and Ellie, they just stumble upon this place, and they had to find their way out from there. They didn't know how, so they just had to be very careful, and they ended up on a building that had a lot of stairs. So they climbed to the top of the building so they can be safe from anybody. But once they were falling asleep and they woke up the next day, that's when they stumbled upon Henry and Sam. And now let's just move forward to episode 5. For episode 5, we get just a small glimpse of Henry and Sam before they actually met Joel and Ellie. Henry's a nice guy. He tries to protect his little brother. And the crazy part is that on the show, they actually made Sam a younger person, more younger than he was in the video game. I think probably in the video game, he was probably like around Ellie's age, around probably 12 or 13, or maybe 10. But still, on the TV show, they made him like 8 years old. He looks like a really young kid, and the main difference is that he also is deaf in the TV show. He cannot really speak, and he cannot even hear. The only thing he knows is sign language. But I believe they did very well, man. They did a very good job. The impact for the last scene that came out from episode 5, it felt more sad on the TV show than on the video game, man. Because he was a smaller kid, and on the video game he could speak, and he was a little bit older, like around Ellie's age, and you really do feel sad for the little kid, man. Hey, if you have seen or played the video game, you know that Sam and Henry did not make it out alive. But before we get there, let's talk about that sniping scene. That sniping scene was good. I was surprised that they actually did it at nighttime. I thought it was gonna be like whack, because a sniper usually has like a night vision or something that they can see their enemy. And I feel like, I don't know, it was just a bit different. In the video game, it was actually more different. It was daytime, and on the TV show, it was actually the nighttime. It was very different in a way, but it actually worked out very well because of the surprising scene that came out from the TV show. When all the survivors, they were heading to get Henry, out of nowhere, like all the creatures, like the zombies, they just came out from underground, dude. And my oh my, I wasn't expecting that many to come out. And damn, man, what a scene. They actually did pull it off, man. It was about the last 15 minutes of the episode, but it was good, man. It was awesome. And this is when we actually got to see the bloater this time. The bloater was supposed to come out in the school that Joe and Ellie and Bill were going to visit, but they never actually got to that part on the TV show. That part was in the video game. It was never on the TV show. But the bloater finally made its first appearance on episode 5. And my oh my, man, that thing is scary. That thing is super scary. And we actually got to see how he kills. if you died on the video game, then you know how he actually just tears out Joel's head. They actually did that as well on the TV show, but not on Joel because they only have one life, and if they die, they're not gonna come back. This is not Dragon Ball Z. They actually pulled it off, man, and dude, I can't wait for episode 6. But before I finish summarizing episode 5 or reviewing it, let's talk about when Sam he got bitten. Yeah, we didn't really get to see how he got bitten, but I'm guessing when one of the zombies was getting his leg, that's when he got bitten by accident, and everything was so fast. He showed Ellie, and it was crazy that when they were talking about their fears around the ending, Sam asked Ellie if, in writing, he asked her if people are still alive after they turn, like if their soul is still inside their body. We actually got to find out Ellie's fear as well. She's afraid to be alone. If you guys have played The Last of Us Part 2, you know what's coming. The thing that they added for this part that they did not had for the video game was that Ellie used her blood to actually cure Sam, but it never actually worked because on the next day, Sam just turned into a zombie and he was about to bite Ellie. But then once it came to the room where Joel and Henry were sleeping at, that's when Henry got the gun and he shot his brother, his young brother. Yeah, man, it was very sad. And man, I almost got in tears, dude. Because it was his brother and that was his only family that he got left. It was a really sad scene. And the worst part is, just like in the video game, he committed suicide and shot himself. Yeah, man, it was very emotional. And we actually got to see that Joel and Ellie buried them close to where they were staying at on a hotel. And that was basically it. That was basically it for that episode. I'm guessing for episode 6, we are gonna get the part where they actually go to the university, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the next part that they're gonna go to, the university. And all the parts that you have seen just now, what we saw, that was during the summertime. Now they're gonna head to the fall. Yeah. My favorite season of the game was actually the winter time. Hopefully they do justice for those episodes. But I'm not really sure how they're gonna do it, man. They only have 4 episodes left to show. The first 5 episodes they showed was during the summertime, and now we actually have 4 left to show the next 3 seasons, like for summer, winter, fall, and spring. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it, man. But it feels like, I don't know, maybe they're like rushing it a bit, because it's hard to do one full game for one season. It would be cool if they actually added another season and they kept like say they did 2 seasons of the first game and 2 more seasons of part 2 of the part 2 video game. Now that would be cool, because we'll have a lot more time with these characters, especially with Henry and Sam. It just sucks that we actually only got to see them in just one episode. Yeah, it really did suck, man, just seeing them go like that. I remember that one time. Yeah, I remember that time when I first played the video game. It was sad too. But like I said, man, it was more emotional on watching it on the TV show because the kid was more younger than he was on the video game. Pretty good, man. It's oh man. Let's just hope they do those episodes well for the winter time. Those are the ones I'm really looking forward to. But I believe probably they just might do just one episode. For like how they're going, yeah, probably there's only gonna be one episode for winter time. But let's just see, man. Let's just see. Another thing I want to talk about is about ghosts and supernatural movies. That genre has been popularized more starting around the late 2000s and early 2010s. And I think the first movie that actually popularized this type of genre was Paranormal Activity. That's the movie, man. That's the movie that actually made the supernatural genre come to life. Before there was Paranormal Activity, there was the Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project is known for its found footage technique that they used for that movie. It was one of the first ones to ever do it like that, like using handheld. It was one of the first ones, and Paranormal Activity, I believe, it just popularized the supernatural genre with found footage. I think the movie that took it to the next level, it probably might have been The Conjuring in a way. Yeah. But let's talk about Paranormal Activity, the 2007 version. I never got to see this movie in theaters, but my brother did. He actually got to see it, and he told me that this movie is scary and he couldn't sleep at night. Oh man, I just wish I saw this movie in theaters. I would have been traumatized probably. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, at the time when that movie came out, I saw the trailers on TV, and probably I was maybe like 10 or 11 years old. Yeah, I was very young, man. I was very young. But when I actually saw this movie, it's probably when I turned 12, because that's when my cousin actually got the CD and the DVD. Yeah, man, it was one of the scariest movies I saw growing up, because we never actually got to see like a person being dragged like from a ghost. We never actually got to see, but it was just doing damage to the main two characters of the movie. Like, it never let them alone, and once it did the Ouija board, that's when things got really worse for them, because it burned, and I believe that was the gateway for the actual demon to come out and mess with them. But not in a good way. It just never let them alone, and every single night when they recorded themselves sleeping, things just got worse and worse. First, it just started with hearing somebody coming up the stairs, right? But like, I don't really remember which night it was, but I'm guessing like in the middle of the movie, we got to see like people's blankets, like they just started lifting and stuff, and the door, it was closing, like it just closed out of nowhere, and it was opening too. Those were good times, man. It was simple, but it was very effective, and I believe that's why it boomed the supernatural genre to the fullest. Yeah, it actually did, man. Paranormal Activity was the movie, and then The Conjuring, it followed. Those were probably the main movies that made supernatural movies very popular throughout the 2010s. And there's many more movies like Annabelle, and there's also as The Possession. Oh yeah, and there's also another movie called Insidious. You guys might have heard of it. I've only seen the first one, but damn, that one scared the crap out of me. I believe that one's way scarier than The Conjuring, man. That little devil thing, dude, it's insane. Really crazy. Why? Why Hollywood? What are you thinking? Yeah, but that was just another level, man. And also, let's say Sinister and Evil Dead. Sinister, I don't really remember much of it. I just know that the guy, he was just looking through the pictures, and there was this ghost that came out. But Evil Dead is basically like a demon controlling a person. And my oh my, that was the first introduction for the franchise for me. And I've never actually seen the other ones that came before the 2013 version. Evil Dead was actually pretty good, but it was kind of gross in a way as well, because like the demon, it was just spitting like blood or whatever it was to them. Yeah, it was really nasty, but you get the point. And also that scene that came out, that raining scene when it was all bloody. Oh, yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. It was pretty good. And maybe you could say the movie It. The movie It is based off the book that Stephen King wrote, and actually remade the movie in 2017. Now the It 1990s version, it wasn't really as good. It doesn't really hold up today, to be honest. And the 2017 one, it just blows it out of the park, just like that. It's pretty good. And I believe that the actor who played the character of Ed, he did a really great job. His name is Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård did a really good job with the character of It, which is Pennywise, the dancing clown. Before he actually got to play Pennywise, I actually saw him on Hemlock Grove. Hemlock Grove was a Netflix original. It was a vampire one mixed with wolves and stuff. I believe they only made 3 seasons. I saw it a long time ago. I like the first 2 seasons, but like in season 3, I don't know, man. I feel like they just ruined it, and they just killed off almost every major character. Like, I feel like they were just done with this show. Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. Hemlock Grove, I remember, man. And also, I forgot her real name, but the actress who came out on X-Men, the one who plays Jean Grey, she came out as the mother for Bill Skarsgård's character on Hemlock Grove. Yeah, I remember these people, but I remember people's faces, but not their names, sadly. But yeah, that one, Hemlock Grove, pretty awesome. What I liked about it is that they added more terror, like the sound effects and even the music that they use. It just made this movie more scarier than the original one. Thanks to, I guess, the CGI in this film. Because the actor who played Pennywise in the 90s version, he didn't have that many CGI effects that he could use. It was all practical effects. Not many movies today rely on that, the practical effects. And it was one of those movies that needed a lot of CGI. CGI is sometimes good and sometimes bad, but on this movie, it was good. They actually did it well. And we also had the kid, Finn Wolfhard. He's very popular from the show called Stranger Things. He came out as one of the kids. I guess he's doing okay with his acting roles. His most recent acting role I've seen him on was the Ghostbusters movie. And I believe probably not this year, but maybe next year, Stranger Things, I think 5 Yeah, I think they're in their fifth season. It's gonna come out, but I believe it's not gonna come out this year. And maybe it's gonna come out next year. That show is very interesting. The first season, it kind of did remind me of E.T. in a way. Like 11, she was E.T. and like the kids, they were trying to save her from the government or trying to get her. But like instead of going home, they were just keeping her safe from harm. And like she also has those telekinesis powers. Yeah, man, it did kind of remind me of that. But the main difference is that Will, he's a kid that disappeared in the first season. And I feel like Will should be one of the main characters as well. But like I feel like they're mostly focusing on 11 because he was the one that was kidnapped in the first season. But they don't really focus on him that much. But they should. But they're mostly focusing on 11 because she does have the telekinesis powers. Season 5 is going to be major, but we're not going to see it until maybe next year. Because now the Upside Down, it has come to their town. It's going to be insane, and it's the last season. I feel like it's been a long time since this show has come out. And it was in 2016. Yeah, it has actually been 7 years. 7 years in the making for season 5 or season 4. No, I'm guessing it's season 5. I just not trying to do my research while I was just speaking. I'm just going on just like that. So yeah, probably season 5. It should be good. Man, that part on season 4 is kind of this suck that Max, I feel like she might have died. She probably might never come back and see again. You know the crazy part is, I think they should kill off a little bit of characters. They don't really kill out the main characters. Like I said on my last podcast, I feel like they don't do that because if they kill off their characters in a horror show, that means that they're out of a job and they have to look elsewhere. Yeah, I feel like that's why they're afraid to kill out the main characters. Like probably maybe the kid who plays Dustin. Maybe if they kill him off, ooh, I can see the outrage on Twitter. People are not going to be happy for that one if they kill him off. But I believe that one of them should die because it'll make a very interesting storyline, and to see like how the friends react to their death. It's a dangerous plot that it won't do justice with the fans, but something else can come out good for the story. Or maybe if Steve, he's like one of the most important characters as well. He was like on season 2, he was taking care of the little kids while they were off on their adventures as well. What if they killed him off? Yeah. Nah, I'm just saying that just because. Just to see how they're gonna react. But no, man, I do enjoy the show. But like the last few episodes that came out for the last season, they were pretty long. They were over an hour and 30 minutes, I believe. Yeah, they were pretty long. The last two, they were long as hell. And I remember watching the whole thing when it was around nighttime. It was about probably 2 or 3 in the morning once I finished watching all the episodes. I binge watched the whole thing. It was pretty awesome, man. I do enjoy the show, but probably my least favorite one might have been the second one, because we didn't really get to see many of the new monsters. We only got to see like the monsters that came out on the first season, but like multiple of them, and not much did happen on that season. But like my favorite one so far was the fourth one. Man, they killed out the cheerleader in the in the very first episode named Chrissy, and they also kill off the other guy that I keep forgetting his character's name, but the guy that he died around the ending of season 4, he was a nice character. Eddie, there you go, that's his name. Yeah, they killed him off as well, and he was a cool character. Why they killing off the best characters in the TV series, man? That's what I'm saying. Probably they might kill off Dustin or Steve, because I believe those are like one of the best characters that has come out from Stranger Things. Steve and Dustin. But they killed off Chrissy and Eddie. But let's see how they do with season 5. It has to be major, man. Will has to have a major part against Vecna. Yeah, Vecna is still alive, I believe. He just ran away. He has to have a major part because since he was the one who was kidnapped, he has to play a major role on this. Not just 11, both of them combined. And yeah, man, I believe that is it for this episode, guys. Yeah, I believe so. We actually got a good amount today. And yeah, guys, I think that is it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys have a friend or a family member that likes horror stuff, recommend this podcast to them. Probably they might enjoy it as well. And yeah, guys, that is it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening again. And make sure to follow this podcast wherever it is you're listening to it. I'm Cristopher Zamora, your host for the Radio State Podcast. Thank you, guys. Take care and live to the fullest. Bye.